Okay, so I think Dr. Vallejo has a presentation to share.
Hmm.
And there you go.
Here we go.
Okay, so again, we want to thank you for joining us to learn more about the higher education teaching certificate today. This is a brand new teaching certificate that actually was just approved this semester, but that we've been working on for about the past year or so. It very much aligns, as you see here, with the mission and core values of the College of Education, the Lurie College of Education, where we seek to prepare and transform educators, counselors, therapists, and school and community leaders through an emancipatory approach and framework. And so this is very much the spirit in which the higher education teaching certificate was also developed. As you will come to see, the courses were very purposely created to, again, echo and mirror these values, very much centering social justice, race, issues of equity. So this flyer, hopefully it looks familiar to most, if not all of you, just reminding you about some of our information sessions. And one of the most important things to take away from this slide is the application deadline, which is April 1st. So we really encourage you to, if you are seriously interested in the program, that you start your application process now, just so that if you need support, and if you need to collect materials, you have time to do that. You do have a little bit of leeway, there's a little bit of grace period after that April 1st deadline, but we really encourage you to, if at all possible, try and submit your complete application by this deadline. And once again, if you have any questions, please feel free. I'm going to put in the chat the best email for you to reach out to us for your questions, edleadership@sjsu.edu. This would be the best email to, again, have any of your queries asked, and we will try and get those back to you as soon as possible.
All right, so I think that's something that is very important to mention to you about this certificate is that we started working first on another program, which is the Master's in Higher Education Leadership, also offered in the Educational Leadership Department. And when we were working with our partners, with our community partners, especially with community colleges, they brought to our attention that they were looking for something like this, for a certificate for their faculty or for prospective faculty, where they could learn a little bit about teaching methodology, but with a lens in social justice, with a lens on culturally sustaining pedagogies, especially because the population that community colleges teach is very diverse. And so through those conversations is that we decided, as Dr. Ledesma was saying, to embark in this program and said, okay, we're going to develop something that reflects what our partners say. And this is where we are, right, with our new program. And again, that provides graduate level coursework and classroom experience to prepare current and future higher education instructors in a culturally sustaining and responsive pedagogical knowledge grounded in social justice, equity, and inclusion. And so this certificate has 3 courses. It's 9 units for them. And we have a course that is a foundation course that examines the development and knowledge of theories related to diversity, equity, and inclusion in the US higher education setting. The second course is a teaching methods course, which is grounded in emancipatory and culturally sustaining pedagogies. It's a course developed with one of our professors who specializes in this area. And finally, there is a teaching fieldwork experience that is going to combine a lecture with some actually practice in a community college setting. So you can go and practice what you have been learning in the other 2 courses, especially in the second one, which is the teaching methods. And you will be able to get feedback feedback from an instructor there at the community college, and then from the instructor for the course that you're going to be taking. So this is the core of our certificate, right? Once you have the theory, then we want you to have the opportunity to have a little bit of that practice that will allow you to go ahead and say, I have done this a little bit. So again, our target audience is, of course, students who are currently enrolled in graduate programs, master's program mostly, but if there is anybody else with a doctoral program that wants to join us, that will be also fantastic. But also for community college and university faculty, right? Especially for community colleges. One of the requests was to have these courses to be graduate level so they can count as professional development for professors. And so they don't have this type of opportunities at the community college. And so these would also count towards that purpose to get their professional development. As Dr. Teresa was saying, we're going to start this summer. And this summer, the idea is to take 2 courses at the same time, which will be the foundations course and the teaching methods course. Each of them is 7 weeks long, and they're going to be completely online. And then the third course will be taught in the fall. It's a 15-week course. Thinking, of course, that this will probably be more convenient for students who are currently studying or maybe people who are already working. And so this will be hybrid. The hybrid part is because, again, we're expecting you to be able to go to a community college and do some practicum. We have been receiving some questions about that in terms of how much is the commitment, how many classes do I have to teach? And so we're thinking between 2 and 3 sessions, which will be maybe a 50-minute session at a community college. We currently have 4 colleges that have expressed the support to host you in their classrooms. And so the other piece will be the online lecture with one of our instructors also, who would not only go over what happens in your fieldwork experience, but also to additionally provide you more information about what it means to be a faculty member in a setting like a community college or higher education. And so basically in a summer and I'm sorry about that. It went the wrong way. So in a summer and 1 semester, you should be able to complete the program. So as we also said, it is already open. The application is already open. So the deadline is April 1st. And you only need a couple of things. First, to show that you either already have a master's degree or that you are enrolled in a master's degree program. So you do require your transcripts. And for the application purpose, you can have non-official transcripts, and then you can send the official transcripts before the classes start. And then you need to answer 2 questions, one related to your teaching philosophy and one related to equity in higher education. So that's the process for application. As I said, we have received some frequently asked questions, and the who should enroll, as I said, is for master's students or people who already have a postgraduate degree. Then you definitely need to have the master's program. You do not need letters of recommendation. It's very important. You do need your transcripts so we can see that you have the master's degree. And the courses, again, they are graduate level. It's 3 courses, 3 units each. So the total number is 9. And the cost per unit is going to be $350. And so we have in there the website, and probably we can put it in the chat in a little bit. So if you have any additional questions, we can definitely address them. But so this is basically what we have for you. And so this is my email, and this is Dr. Ledesma's email in case you want to, or if you have any questions. But also, as she mentioned, you can email the edleadership@sgsu.edu, and they will also receive your email, and you can receive more information. And especially if you have questions regarding the application, we're more than happy to help you with that. So we are going to go to the questions. Mm-hmm. And my computer is kind of acting up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just quickly, there is no requirement for the GRE. That might be obvious, but we do also want to, clarify that in terms of, the materials that you will need. But because you do need those official transcripts, that's part of the reason that we encourage you to start early, to get those placeholders there so that you can work on getting that supportive material. So if you have questions, please, yes, unmute yourself and ask. You're also welcome to drop them in the chat and we will try and answer them as we go.
I have a question. I am currently a student at SJSU, so do I still need to request a official or non-official transcript?
So if you're currently a student at SJSU, that does facilitate the process because the system will basically have you already your information available. You don't necessarily need to provide the official transcripts because again, they are going to be accessible through the SJSU system itself. But we encourage you to, as you start the application, if anything comes up that, kind of is going to be cumbersome, or if there's a roadblock, that's where you want to let us know. But I think because you're in the system, that should facilitate your application. In the chat, I see the question of whether the classes will be in the evening. These are graduate level classes and typically they are in the evening. So they usually fall between the 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. block. And that is true at least for the summer and very likely for the fall classes as well. Gabriel asks, would you be able to work from a community college close to you or one in San Jose area? So Isabel, I'll let you answer that one.
So as I have mentioned, we do have currently 4 community colleges that are willing to provide us with the spaces here in the Bay Area, which is Mission College, San Mateo College, San Jose City College, and West Valley. But if you are not in this area and you have an opportunity and you know somebody in a community college that says, yes, I can give you a space to come and practice, we definitely can work with that community college. What we will be doing is once we know how many students we have and where they're from, we're going to be talking to the community colleges, establishing memorandums of understanding. So that way you can choose which works for you. But again, if you are not around here, or if another community college, let's say you're in Gilroy and there's over there, you can get a community college to offer you a space. We will work with the community college as long as they said, yes, we can do that. We're going to be flexible. We want to make sure that you have the opportunity to do your practicum. So yes.
And then Brianna asks if for CSU employees, would this be covered under the employee fee waiver?
That's a very interesting question. Now, this program is offered through a special session in the summer, and my understanding is that it may not be allowed to use your CSU employee waiver. So we will need to check that, and I will annotate that question and go back to the people that know a little bit more about that. But my understanding when we asked the first time is that we may not be able to use it.
And then a few more questions. Kingston, I think your question is very similar to the one that was asked earlier about potential community college sites. So the question is, which potential community colleges would we need to be traveling to in the fall for the practicum? So as Dr. Vallejo said, we have existing MOUs with a few community colleges that are more local to the SJSU campus. However, if you have relationships and you have an in at a community college closer to you, please feel free to work with that community college. And I think we'd be able to support and facilitate that. And Kingston also asked, are official transcripts ones that are sent and sealed from the university, or would it suffice if we have them ordered? If we have ordered them in the past, sent them directly to us. What do you think about that, Isabel?
My understanding is that they have to be sealed and sent to the university directly. That's what our registrar and what our applications especially said. Yeah.
And then Melanie asks, how many students will be in each course? Is this a cohort-based model?
So we're anticipating that for this summer, we're only going to be opening one section of each course. We have a maximum of 25 students per course. So that will be it, basically. And yes, so the idea is that it's a cohort because those 25 students, let's say, will start at the same time. They will be taking Monday and Wednesday, one of the courses, Tuesday and Thursday, the other course. So they will complete the first two courses together, and then the third course again together. So yes, the program is not going to be offered, it's going to be offered every summer. So a cohort finishes in the fall, and then we will enroll another cohort for the next summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we missed a question by TJ. So yes, the summer classes are happening at the same time as I was just saying. So the idea is that we're going to have one of the courses offered Monday and Wednesday, and the other course Tuesday and Thursday. And so since it is 7 weeks long, which is a little bit different from what San Jose does in terms of their summers, which is summer 1 and 2, we kind of use both at the same time. And so, yes, they're going to be at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And another question is each summer fall program in the future years going to be in the same format of virtual in the summer and hybrid in the fall? I would say probably so, because part of the hybrid in the fall is that actual teaching experience. So you want to be present for that. And in the summer, I think obviously that helps facilitate if it's a hybrid model where online teaching for us to have hopefully a more robust cohort. And I did want to say that the size of the cohort, we're aiming to have hopefully 15, to 16 students, but it all also is going to be contingent on the applicant pool. Mm-hmm. And then a question is asked about financial aid for the program, whether students can use grants to support the program. So I would say that typically, again, because this is a unique program, that it's a special session, I think we would absolutely encourage you to take a look at as many financial aid options as possible, but some of them are restrictive, and you want to be sure that that fine print is understood. The institution offers some supports as well, but again, as we heard earlier, there are again kind of fine print and limits to whether they would apply to the certificate program. What other questions do you have? So Liliana asked, would we still be considered SJSU students even though it is a special session? And yeah, the question, because it is very much tied to a TA or GA position. That's a great question. Isabel?
So we actually had this question this morning. Somebody asked me, and so I checked with our graduate studies person. And so she said that yes, you are considered an SJSU student. And it will be probably depending on your department, whether they're going to take that as a sufficient, evidence that you are a student, and they will be able to provide you with your TA or GA position. But from the registrar's point of view, you are an SJSU certificate student. So yes, because again, this is a certificate, this is graduate level, so you are a student for those for the summer and the fall that you're enrolling in the program.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Gabriel asks about any career development opportunities after the program. That's great. You're asking, you're making us think ahead. So I think that we definitely want to continue to engage alumni. So I think that, if you were part of the program, it's something that we hope that it's not a one-shot, deal, that, we continue to circle back to you, both for your expertise, but also hopefully for future events. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I think that's a great question, and we probably need to start thinking in terms of more development and going back to you as alumni, if you were a student, and say, okay, what other things do you think we're missing, or what other areas do you think will be important to explore, so we can continue adding more to the offerings that our department is going to be doing. So yeah, that's a great question. We're open to suggestions, definitely, and to continue offering more development.
Yes. And so the question is asked about whether there are sample syllabi of the 3 courses for prospective students to review. So I'm going to take the prerogative here and say, typically we don't share syllabi until the start of the course. So, you know, we do have instructors who are working on fine tuning the syllabi right now and the Canvas shells. So it's kind of a teaser, you know, if you want to see it, you have to, you know, apply and enroll, you know, but we will tell you that, you know, as Dr. Vallejo mentioned in the presentation, these courses were ones that were very deliberately thought out, you know, by faculty with expertise in the area, and we're really excited to be able to offer them. These are great questions. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. More to add to our FAQ page.
Yeah. Anything else? Well, if you do think of additional questions after today, again, feel free to use the emails that we shared earlier, both our personal emails, but also that the departmental email at edleadership@sjsu.edu. Yeah, we're not shutting down now. We're just, you know, reminding you that that's available, and we're still here to answer your questions. So are the classes synchronous or asynchronous?
The classes are going to be synchronous. The faculty member may decide that, you know, part of the class may be asynchronous, or that maybe 1 week they want to do asynchronous and then asynchronous with a combination. But typically, and for now, we are considering that they're going to be synchronous.
So we have a question about what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous?
So the synchronous classes online will be that you will have to log in at 4:30 p.m. every Wednesday and to Monday and Wednesday, and be part of the class, and, you know, discussions, activities, whatever the professor has decided for that particular class. The asynchronous will be that maybe the professor assigns you a module, some reading, some work, and you just turn it in and you just do it at your own pace, and you will need to fulfill a deadline. So, so that will be the difference. So there are occasions in which, for example, there are some institutions that offer everything asynchronous, right? And so it is kind of a self-paced with deadlines, and you don't talk to the professor. Maybe you have to do some work with with your classmates online, but there's not a set time where you meet. In the synchronous, there is a set time, and you're expected to be, you know, on your computer and sharing with the class.
Again, great questions. Thank you. So,
Hi.
oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Alicia.
I am listening, and I'm sorry I can't show my face, but I'm in an environment where I can't do so, and I'm so sorry. I was wondering, so to move forward with registering for this course, is there a particular website? I looked through the chat and I was wondering if it was there, or maybe I missed it.
We didn't put it in the website, but yes, you have to go to San Jose State's website to go to what's called Cal State Apply. But actually, you can go to the graduate studies website, and then to enroll in the program, they will let you know where. I probably should have your contact information because we collected it when you register for the session. So I will make sure that you receive the link So you can directly go there and start your application.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And what's the cost for this entire program? If I missed that.
So we calculated at 3,150. It's $350 per unit. It's 9 units.
And this is a certification course, correct?
Yes, you will receive a document that says that this is a certificate. Yes.
Okay, good. My employer provides tuition reimbursement, and so I was just wanting to use those funds. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, in any of you work in a community college, for example, or you're starting to work there, our understanding is also that they provide funds for professional development, and we were informed that those funds can be used towards this program.
So we do have a question of when the program starts. And for the summer.
So the program is going to start June 6th.
June 6th, and it'll be 7 weeks in duration for the summer. And one of the things that I was going to offer that we've heard in a previous info session is the question of when it comes to your fall class and the teaching, what areas do you teach? So I think the answer to that is what areas you yourself self-identify as having teaching experience in, correct?
Correct. So the whole idea is that once you enroll in our program, one of the very first things that we're going to ask you is what is the areas that you're interested in teaching? So we can go back to the community colleges and say, we need this many classes of English, or do we need professors in math or in social studies, in psychology. So that way they can let us know which community colleges are going to have places where you can go and practice. So that's I think that very important piece, that you will go and teach and practice on something that you are familiar with and that you are interested in teaching in later on. So we will need to get that information from you once you start the program.
And then there's a question about how long in terms of hours are the class each night, and is it 4 days a week? So I'm assuming that we're talking specifically here about the summer.
So the summer, yes. So each class is going to meet twice a week for 3 hours each. So you have 6 hours of instruction every week per class. And yes, so you will be meeting 4 times a week during the summer.
Yeah, it's a pretty intensive program.
Yeah, so the idea is, again, that you can, during the summer, you can finish those 2 courses. And then the fall course is different. So because the course runs for 15 weeks, you're going to be meeting once a week for 3 hours. And then that course is going to be running actually on a Friday. That course.
So our next question is whether the teaching in the fall will be offered in lower division or would be upper division at the graduate level.
The courses.
Yeah, so when you're teaching.
The courses that you're going to be teaching at the community college. I think that will depend on what you want to teach and what is available. So we have not been informed whether it's only lower, but I mean, of course, being at a community college is the first 2 years, right? So you probably consider them lower division. But if you, let's say that you have another place where you want to go and teach, and there is an upper division class and they allow you to practice that, that's fine. So the whole idea of the practice is, again, so you can go and implement the methods and the ideas that you have been developed in the first 2 courses. So it doesn't really matter whether it's lower division or upper division. First, what are you interested in? And second, what can we get you in?
Yeah, I do want to circle back to a point that Dr. Vallejo mentioned earlier in the presentation, that the impetus for this certificate program really came from community college leadership themselves. So if you know that this is an area that you are looking to either continue in or to get into, I think that one of the things that we heard very loud and clear is that the community colleges that provided us feedback said, that they actually would be looking very positively at this type of certificate, both as a hiring tool, but also hopefully as a retention incentive. Obviously, it's going to depend individually per each community college, but there was a sentiment that was pretty much shared with the various representatives that we had around the table on that day.
Mhm.
After completing the certification program, what positions, what roles are that we would be able to move into with this certification within community colleges or universities? I don't know how far it takes one.
At the community college, mostly as an instructor. And you will have the opportunity, of course, to apply for a faculty position if they have one open. For example, we have people who are in our masters in counselor education, and our counselors in community colleges are also asked to teach. So those of you who may be already counselors or who are pursuing your master's in counseling and are thinking of joining a community college, you can actually apply for that and say, and I also have the teaching, especially, the teaching certification, so that it will allow me to fulfill that piece of my job. So those are the two areas in which we know that you will be able to apply to, especially for faculty or instructor positions. And if you're a counselor, then definitely you will have that requirement that they have.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us today and asking some really great questions. And again, we'll just encourage you to, if you're seriously interested, to start that application process as soon as you can, and to also reach out to us when you do have questions. And we'll, try our very best to get you the answers as quickly as possible back, because this is time sensitive. But thank you so much for all of your questions this early evening, I guess. And we look forward to hopefully receiving and reviewing your applications. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for all your questions and for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.